Live from Hopkinsville, this is LEX18 News special coverage. Darkness and daylight. Total Eclipse 2017.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this LEX18 News special report, Daylight in Darkness, Total Eclipse 2017. I'm Nancy Cox, and you know, it's been 38 years, 6 months, and 6 days since Kentucky saw its last solar eclipse. That was February 26, 1979. But that eclipse didn't stretch coast to coast, and today's big event is the first time that's happened since June 8th, 1918, more than 99 years ago. Well, today's track began in Oregon, cutting a 70-mile wide path across the United States, ending near Charleston, South Carolina. Now, what is a total solar eclipse? It happens when the sun, the moon, and the earth are in perfect alignment. The sun then casts the moon's shadow across the earth. You'll be able to see at least part of the eclipse across the state, a crescent cut out of the sun. But ground zero for today's event is Christian County, Hopkinsville to be exact. LEX18 Chief Meteorologist Bill Mack and reporter Claire Crouch are just outside Hopkinsville, right in the heart of the action in Cerulean.
We are doing it the way you have to look at it right now. You have to look through special eclipse glasses still, which if you're outside and enjoying the eclipse, you need to have something like this or some type of indirect viewing in order to see the eclipse. Now, when it reaches totality here in Hopkinsville, we can take these off and we can actually look directly at the sun when we will see things that just aren't normally seen. The corona, we'll be able to see planets in daylight, all kinds of amazing things. It has been a terrific, albeit a hot morning out here, but even that's been changing a little, Claire.
That's right. Already we are starting to feel the breeze pick up. It's a little cooler, even a little less bright. It's amazing. Even, gosh, what were you saying, a little more than 50% now?
More than, yeah.
More than, yeah. And you're already feeling all those changes that we've been talking about and hearing about over the past few weeks.
It's almost like right now, and you may be seeing it in Lexington as well, it's just not as crisp as it normally is. I mean, that's kind of the best way to describe it. It's less bright. And again, in Lexington, it will be less bright throughout the day and all throughout central Kentucky. Even Monticello, Jamestown, where we have 99% coverage, it's still going to be less bright. It will not be totality. How the eclipse works, and Nancy was kind of alluding to it there just a second ago. What's going on here? It's a vast piece of geometry. It is something that's fairly unique. What's going on is we have the anatomy of the eclipse. Now, the moon revolves around the earth. Now, it doesn't do it in a perfect circle, not in a perfect line, or what's called the ecliptic. It actually tilts a little bit, so there's only a couple of special times when the moon, the earth, and the sun are lined up at that point of the ecliptic. It's called a node, where an eclipse can occur. When it happens for a solar eclipse, well, what happens is the moon comes between the sun and the earth, and where that takes place, where the exact moment that will take place is right here on the farm where we are outside of Hopkinsville. This is the point of maximum eclipse. That's where the earth, the sun, and the moon will be in a perfect line. First thing, and what's happening right now, is something called the penumbra. The penumbra is a partial eclipse of the sun. It's shading the sun. It certainly is doing that. It's, again, lessening the light to a degree. What we're waiting for is the big part of the show. That's the umbra. That is something that has not touched the United States since 1979, and nothing of this magnitude since 1918. So again, this is something that will be truly remarkable to behold when it does take place. Now, Governor Bevin came to Hopkinsville today. He came to Eclipseville as Kentucky prepares to take its place in history as the sun and the moon all come together. History is made, but so is science and education.
It's an extraordinary opportunity. We have the Vatican here, we have NASA here, we have the universities here, as you said, and we have people from all over the country and all over the world having descended on this spot. And again, a lot of places people could have gone to watch it, but there's only one Kentucky. And there's only one place with a hospitality. There's only one place where you have the quality of life. And honestly, what a picture-perfect day. It's going to get a little warm, but frankly, compared to what it might be, it's going to be outstanding. So I think it's good that we have so much educational focus. Every one of the kids around the state that is not actually out of school and here, from what I understand, pretty much every school in Kentucky is going to have kids outside with glasses on, learning, and a whole lot of future meteorologists will probably be developed, literally, because of this event on this day here in Kentucky.
We should teach him to say LEX18 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck and see how he gets tongue-tied on that.
That's a mouthful.
And it was terrific to have Governor Bevin out here and for the good words that he said. But Claire, as you've been watching stuff here, as you've been watching everything unfold, what are you taking away so far?
Well, immediately the symptoms of the eclipse, like I said, the cooler, slightly cooler temperature, a little less bright outside, but also it's gotten a little more quiet out here. People are putting their eclipse glasses on and they are taking notice of what is happening above us, the thing that we have all been waiting to see, the reason why we're all here. You know, we've been talking about it's going to be a life-changing experience, it's going to be something you never forget, and already we've been walking around talking with people trying to get their reactions of what they've seen, and we wanted to kind of put together a little package for you to see how they were all waiting in anticipation and the moments right before the eclipse started. For the first time in 99 years,
The place where you need to be is the totality.
the sun and moon taking center stage in the United States.
We looked at a map of the next few solar eclipses, and I noticed that there was one going through right through North America. I'm like, oh, great opportunity.
And they're drawing quite a crowd.
Go up through here, there's a guy up there with a vest on, he'll park you where you need to go.
From Florida to Wisconsin and as far away as Brazil and Europe, fans of astronomy and curious onlookers are flocking here to Cerulean, Kentucky.
We're driving around from what news reports we had heard, and we stumbled across this farm here.
For what's sure to be the best view of one heck of a show.
I haven't seen one, so this is my chance to see it. You know, it's once in a lifetime opportunity, so I hope I can see it, or we can see it. Yes, we all can see it and enjoy it.
And thankfully, I think anyone who's out here is getting a very good view at it right now. That the clouds have cleared away from the sky and we are getting a beautiful view.
And it's amazing how the temperature dropped. If you were watching us at noon today, we were dying out here. I mean, it was hot.
Yeah.
Well, in the interim time that we've gone into the shadow, we have dropped from temperatures that were in the mid-90s. We're now sitting right about 90. And actually, before I moved it up into the sun here, it was actually down to about 88. So again, we are indeed seeing the temperature fall out here in Hopkinsville. So again, some pretty incredible stuff. And again, talking about how the people are experiencing this. I felt compelled just before we went on air. I was texting with my wife and daughter. They're back in Lexington. We can't share it together, but I wanted to make sure that they went out and made sure that they were going out to experience this as well. We may be miles apart, but can still share it together.
Exactly. I just actually got a text from my mom down in Texas where they're getting a very partial eclipse, nothing like what we're getting to see, but she texted saying, I'm getting to see it. It's so exciting. So it is neat just to see everybody's reactions coming in all across the country, really, as this eclipse takes hold. And, you know, we've been talking about all the spectacular places here at home to watch the eclipse. One of those places is the Land Between the Lakes, and that is where we have Jacqueline Nye. She's been talking with people out there, so we want to toss it over to her now at Land Between the Lakes.
Travelers have packed the lake, eclipse glasses in hand, ready for the eclipse.
The moon crossing the sun and total darkness.
Just before totality, there's the diamond ring effect, when you have a little bit of bright sun, but you have that one little bright flash, and so it looks like a diamond ring.
One science teacher from Massachusetts is excited for the view of a lifetime.
To see the Bailey's beads, which is the bright light of the sun coming through the irregular surface of the moon, and so it looks like bright beads.
And a family from Ontario has been waiting for this day in Kentucky for over a year.
We booked a campsite, hotels, and decided to come down to see it.
It's just an exciting time, and then the next one isn't until 2024, and I will be like 87 or 86 or something, and who knows, maybe it'll be I'm going to grab this one.
Covering the eclipse at Land Between the Lakes, Jacqueline Nye, LEX18 News.
You know what's been amazing here is, again, a little bit of a breeze, and I've heard that is actually part of the whole meteorological change that goes on, is that there is a breeze that accompanies the shadow as it moves its way across. You are changing the atmosphere, and that's all the wind is a reaction to changes in the atmosphere. And just in the few minutes that we've been on here, I mean, there's already been noticeable changes again in the sun. I mean, the totality here is coming on quickly.
It's really remarkable.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see the effects so quickly, but I mean, it didn't take long at all.
Yeah, and it's 1:24 here Central Time, so 2:24 in Lexington when totality arrives in Hopkinsville for 2 minutes, 40 seconds, and a tenth.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a momentous occasion out here. I'm already excited and nervous for it, so I'm ready.
Should we send it back to Nancy back there in the studio, see what else is going on there in Lexington?
Well, besides us being a little jealous of you, if you can't be in Hopkinsville for the totality, you can still see a lot from here in central Kentucky. This is what the eclipse will look like in Lexington with 95% totality. We're going to show you that. And there are plenty of people at viewing parties across the Bluegrass excited to just catch a glimpse. Our Conroy Deluge is live at Thoroughbred Park in Lexington, where the eclipse is certainly the talk of the town.
Yeah, definitely, Nancy. It's a big watch party here at Thoroughbred Park. Many Fayette County school students who got the day off so they could see the eclipse. They brought their parents who took a vacation day. Neighbors brought their friends, and we were just told Mayor Jim Gray will be joining us a little bit later as well. This isn't something that happens every day. The crowd started arriving early, hoping to get the chance to snag one of the last pairs of eclipse glasses here in town. We found some folks who couldn't find any this morning, so they made their own safe eclipse viewers. And unless you're 99 years of age or older, this event is unlike any other you'll see in your lifetime. When the sky goes dark, Bobby Belt told me it will be a special moment.
Moment is, I think it's a moment of peace. A moment of being at peace with God, being at peace with my family, being at peace with the state, and being proud to be from the state of Kentucky.
And now there are no more glasses to give out, but there's certainly plenty more room here at Thoroughbred Park if you want to come join us for that moment of totality. Now we're going to send it over to Versailles, where Lee Searcy joins us live from Kentucky Castle.
That is right, Conroy, and what a beautiful day. We are here at the Kentucky Castle, and we're calling it a Royal Eclipse viewing party. We've got music, beverages. People are ready with their eclipse glasses. Around 200 people are here on the rooftop waiting for this historic event. And yes, it's a little hot up here, but there are great things going on. In fact, head castle chef Jason Wells has spent the past several days preparing homegrown and homemade appetizers fit for a king or a queen. The view from atop castle, the Kentucky Castle rather, is stunning, and those who came here say it's a real treat to watch history from this iconic landmark.
This is something exciting. It's never happened before in quite some time, and I want to be a part of that.
On the roof of the castle.
That's exactly right. Never been on the roof before.
So lots of people here, around 200. They've got their glasses, their boxes, their cereal boxes, you name it. Everybody's excited. And for those who grew up in the area, or whether those folks who traveled across the country to be here, it's unique, and we're making history here. It's a fun time. Back to you all in the studio.
Great place to watch, Lee. Thanks. And a crowd is gathered at Eastern Kentucky University at an observation deck on campus to see the eclipse before heading on over to the planetarium for even more of this grand event. Storm tracker meteorologist Seth Phillips is live in Richmond to continue our coverage of Darkness and Daylight.
That's right. We're at the epicenter of solar eclipse viewing in Richmond, Kentucky, and we are on the EKU Astronomy and Physics observation deck. Now up here, the department has put in a few telescopes to aid in the view of the partial eclipse, which we're at about 95% here. So I spoke with Professor Dr. Marco Choca on how these eclipse viewers work.
Telescopes that they use, excuse me, and these telescopes are set in such a way to track the motion of the sun. The telescopes are filters so the people can look through safely and look at the disk of the sun and filter so there is very little light. But where the moon blocks the sun, they will see darkness. Mm-hmm. And then this particular one, on the other hand, is for eyepiece projection. And they will be able to see the sunlight unfiltered, and it will be pretty obvious that the moon is blocking it.
Sure. Can you show us a little bit about what this one does?
This is the disk of the sun in full light. You can see the dark spots on the surface of the sun, which it's not dirt on the lens.
What are those dark? Are those sunspots?
There are sunspots on the places on the surface of the sun which are a little colder, and therefore they appear darker.
Okay.
And the curved line you see is the moon cutting across.
That's the actual eclipse right there?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when this gets to maximum, we're still going to see a little sliver of light, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, once again, here in Richmond, we are only at a 95%, so that's a partial solar eclipse, but all the people I've talked to say they don't mind. They say just to be able to see something like this is a very special experience. Tracking the Great American Solar Eclipse from the LEX18 Mobile Newsroom, back to you.
Thank you, Seth. And here's what it looked like a little earlier this afternoon in Casper, Wyoming. The city is just one of many across the U.S. to have already seen the totality of the eclipse pass by. And earlier in Oregon, some drivers traveling to see the eclipse decided to hunker down. Hundreds of vehicles could be seen from the air at a rest stop in Salem, Oregon. It's not clear whether the majority of them plan to stop or if they just decided to spend enough time to see it the side of the road. But police are reminding motorists, though, that you cannot just stop and park on the side of the interstate. Not a good idea, so keep that in mind. But we want to know, we're back here in Lexington, not in Hopkinsville, so how clearly we'll be able to see the eclipse here in central Kentucky. Here's LEX18 meteorologist Jill Swed with a look at viewing conditions here.
And Nancy, we may not be along the path of totality here across the bluegrass, but we are still going to certainly get quite a scene and a show across our skies over the next couple of minutes or so. Our skies already starting to darken here in Lexington as our partial eclipse started just after 1 o'clock. And we are going to reach the maximum of our partial solar eclipse right around 2:30. So in the next 14 minutes or so, we're going to begin to see a crescent shape. Now, typically we see a crescent moon, but instead the moon is going to be blocking about 95% of the sun, looking a little bit more like twilight, still being able to see some of the sun, but we are going to begin to see some of the stars out there as well. And eventually, as we head towards 4 o'clock, the alignment of the Earth, Moon, and the sun will start to separate, and we'll kind of get things back to normal, if you will. Taking a look at downtown Lexington right now, this is from our WeatherBug camera at St. Joseph Hospital. You can already see things getting a little bit duller. We haven't gone to complete darkness just yet, and viewing conditions are actually still looking pretty good. Throughout the course of the morning, we've been seeing some high wispy clouds starting to roll in across our skies, not blocking the view with this partial eclipse, but instead kind of filtering the scene. And really, we couldn't have asked for a better day. Again, looking now at our satellite loop over the past 6 hours, this is our high definition GOES 16 radar. You can see things have been fairly quiet all across the Commonwealth, as we saw with Bill and Claire. Skies also looking good in Hopkinsville. Of course, they're along the path of totality. But as you know, if you've been out at all today, it's really stuffy out there. Temperatures right now are running near 90 degrees, and they're going to continue to fall as we begin to go into more darkness over the next couple of minutes or so here in the bluegrass. But those feels like temperatures even hotter. It still feels like 89 degrees here in Lexington, and even over into Hopkinsville, feeling more like the mid-90s at this hour. But as we head into darkness, you may notice things starting to get a little bit cooler. In fact, along the path of totality, it is expected that temperatures could drop anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees. We won't see that quite sharp of a drop off here in Lexington, but it is going to start to get cooler, and the wind may also pick up as we begin to see changes in the atmosphere going on. Of course, it's going to be certainly a sight to see over the next couple of minutes or so, Nancy.
It really will. Thank you, Jill. Well, we've done several stories in the past about Murray State University alumna and former NASA director Sue Darnell Ellis. She began at the age of 18 on a path that led her to the NASA Teacher Space Program in 1985. And of course, her life changed in '86 when she was at the Kennedy Space Center and watched the shuttle Challenger explode. Along with the crew, the first teacher in space, Krista McAuliffe, perished. Soon after, Sue was recruited to Paducah Independent Schools and later to the Kentucky Department of Education. She directed the first state-based space science education program, and this led to her recruitment to go to NASA. And Sue joins us now, and you've had an amazing career, so focused on education, K through 12. What an opportunity today for teachers to use this to enrich their students' education.
Absolutely.
What would you be doing if you were in the classroom today?
Well, making sure that everybody's protecting their eyes, first of all.
Definitely, we can't
That's the
stress that enough.
very most important thing is because, you know, people have asked me, why would schools let out? Well, if you're a teacher with 30 students, how do you make sure all the first graders keep those eye covers on their eyes so that their eyes are not hurt? That's the main thing, is to keep their eyes protected.
Let's show what you have here. This is called a green flash during the 1991 eclipse. And this happens as the sun is coming back out. Is that the case? And it's just a split
You're
second.
asking me something I didn't ask Dr. John Guyton.
But regardless, this is just a flash.
This is
during
during
the
totality,
eclipse.
and he said it was the only time that he's known that it's ever been caught and photographed. And I said, so how many photographs did you make? And he said, you don't want to know. So I'm sure that it's tens of thousands. The shutter is clicking every single second of totality, which is 2 minutes and 24 seconds or whatever. So
and that's just
this
one
was in
glimpse.
Mexico in 1991.
That shows you what beautiful images come out of this.
Yes.
So we're going to talk more, but right now it's almost time. You know,
I'm
the
ready.
Moon, yeah, the moon
I'm ready.
is
I'm
sweeping.
excited to be here, since I can't be in Hopkinsville.
I know, but Bill Meck and Claire Crouch are. So let's go back to them as we get ready for totality in Western Kentucky.
The totality for Hopkinsville is coming up now in about 3 minutes or so. What we are experiencing now, which is better than 90%, probably about 95%, but it's a little thin crescent of a sun is all we have left out here at this point, is what Lexington is going to end up experiencing. The umbra of the moon is traveling toward us at about 1,462 miles per hour. So it's making its way rapidly across the country. Areas just to our west have already gone into totality. Remember, for the Lexington area, the maximum eclipse is going to be at 2:30. What I want to do again is let's see where we are. And again, we're just down to a sliver of a sun here in Hopkinsville. When the sun does reach totality, it is getting darker here. As we do see totality happen here, it will get dark. I mean, our picture will basically go away because they've also told us we're not allowed to use lights, nor would we want to. We don't want to ruin anybody's experience with this. Again, it's going to be something that is, again, most folks have never experienced, and some folks came a long way to experience something like this. The darkness is encroaching quickly, is the best way to describe it at this point, as the moon now is really eating away at the sun in a hurry. And again, maybe this is about the point where Lexington would be, because again, we're down to just a little sliver. For you folks that are in Monticello, in Russell County, even up to Danville, you get 97 to 99% coverage. It's still not a total eclipse, but it will be something that's spectacular. And again, the changes out here are palatable. And you listen, and it's almost a hush that has come in here. In terms of the totality, we are still about 2 minutes away, less than 2 minutes away at this point, as the moon again continues to come in quickly. And again, it is changing fast. I'm not sure what pictures you're showing there back in Lexington, but again, just to the west, as this shadow is coming at us in a hurry, you can look around. There are a lot of jet contrails sitting up above us there. We've ended up with a beautiful clear sky. We are getting close to the time of totality. 1:23 I'm showing on my clock. Totality is 1:24. And it's coming up again very fast. I wanted to show you real quick also. I didn't, because where we are allowed, or we're able to use naked eye. And I brought my dad's binoculars. I used these when Olivia played soccer, and so he was with me at every game for this. I brought my dad's binoculars, so I'm hoping to see solar prominences. I'm hoping to, my goodness, we're down to just a sliver. And it's coming quickly, but again, seeing planets visible. We've got photographers everywhere going, and again, we are right at the moment of totality. It is the smallest of slivers left in Hopkinsville, and once it's gone, we're looking right now for the Bailey's beads, the diamond ring effect. It's twilight dusk here. You do hear some people talking. We're down to just a little corner. I think that's the Bailey's beads right there. There is totality. Oh my gosh, we're in it. I'm hoping you're getting video of that back in Lexington. Claire to my left is just saying, oh my gosh. There are planes flying overhead. We can see Venus over here to the right. Again, for anyone watching us in totality, and again, hopefully you're outside enjoying this. It truly is amazing. The corona, fairly uniform, two broad prominences off to the left and right bottom. Don't see any prominences, but the corona is just beautiful. We got a shot. Oh, that's from us. Oh my goodness. Rob Cook was that's Rob's camera. Oh my goodness, you are seeing what we're seeing here. It's a 360-degree sunset from where we are. It is red all the way around. But the picture of the sun is remarkable. Us seeing bright orange to the bottom right of the sun, that might be a prominence.
It's actually amazing. I teared up. This is amazing. I gasped when I saw the totality. It's amazing.
Even naked eye now can see prominences to the top right.
Do we see Mercury?
I don't see Mercury. I don't see Regulus, which would be to the left. Venus is plainly visible. It is brightening to the west. We're getting to the edge. We're coming out of the total. What a picture you got there from Rob Cook.
It's already so much brighter.
This is hard to even describe it. It's getting so bright here so fast, but it's still just the strangest light. That it's not a sunrise light. It's just hard to describe. It's almost flat shadow, maybe the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm just. This blew my mind.
I know you're seeing it coming up in Lexington here shortly at its maximum, but it's, again, just hard to describe everything that we were seeing here. Yeah, we're back here. Claire, work your way back in over here. Come on.
I no longer have a microphone, but I'm pretty much speechless. We've been talking about we'll be speechless at the sight of what we'll see, and as soon as I took my eclipse glasses off when we reached totality, I immediately teared up. I mean, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It's just a sight unlike any other, and really kind of puts things in perspective all of a sudden. It's just beautiful. And I think after maybe a little sleep exhaustion and all the buildup, it lived up to it in my eyes. And it is amazing how immediately it got brighter as soon as we got just a sliver of the sun back.
Yes, that's what you'll experience in Lexington. You won't get completely dark like we did here with the twilight dark. But again, it's still a monumental, I mean, you run out of superlative way to describe it. It was something, and now the thing is, we get to do this again in 7 years. With the next total eclipse coming in 2024, and then the greatest solar eclipse for North America, for the United States, comes in 2045. I'll be 81. I hope to goodness I get to see that with 6 minutes of totality. 2 minutes and 40 seconds, never better spent than what we just did here. Nancy, I hope you guys were able to appreciate that back there.
Well, we still have chills here in the studio. That was just amazing to be able to see that, and I got chills. How about you, Sue?
Oh, thank you, Bill. I'm just I talked about how many things we've partnered on, and at least I'm here, and yes, I'm speechless.
You've seen it all.
I'm not speechless often,
right.
But I'm speechless right now because.
And I loved hearing the people in the background, their reactions.
All the oohs and the ahs and oh my goodness. And if we can't ooh and ah from live and in person, this is the next best thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it was like to be right there.
Well,
pretty great.
They're telling us.
Yeah. Well, Jill Sweat is going to tell us about what things are developing here in Lexington, in central Kentucky. Let's take a look at what we're seeing. Jill, we're getting close, right?
Yeah, and Nancy, in fact, we have just hit the time of maximum partial eclipse here in Lexington, and we're looking now at our weather bug camera from St. Joseph Hospital pointing towards downtown. And over the past hour and a half or so, things have been darkening gradually across the bluegrass. So if you will, I don't want to turn you away necessarily from our coverage, but if you're inside, take your eclipse glasses and just look out the window right now. Again, we are at the point of maximum eclipse here in Lexington and for many other spots across central and eastern Kentucky. So this really is our time. And as you can see from our weather bug camera again, it almost looks like it's evening time. Meanwhile, it's 2:30 here in the middle of the afternoon. Certainly once in a lifetime event. And I'm even right now just sitting here in the studio kind of just feeling what it people can be experiencing. And I think you can really tell the emotion even from Bill and Claire whenever they reach totality over there in Hopkinsville. Of course, it's not quite as dark as what we saw from those images there, but certainly we are seeing quite a show. I get a 95% partial eclipse here in Lexington, and we're going to continue to see things dark for the next little bit or so. And then gradually things will be getting brighter as we go closer to 4 o'clock, as again the Earth, Moon, and the Sun, their orbital planes are going to start to dislodge a little bit. Again, the Moon covering 95% of the sun this afternoon. And also, if you're out there, you may feel temperatures starting to drop. Not quite as far as a drop as you may see across the path of totality, but it's starting to feel a little bit cooler. And you may even be seeing some of the stars out there as well. Nancy, I don't know, once in a lifetime event, and I certainly can't wait for the next eclipse to occur over the next couple of years.
That was great. We're so glad to be able to share it with you if you couldn't be in Western Kentucky. Right now, though, we're going to wrap up our coverage because NBC is going to take over and continue the path of totality across the U.S. But if you have those glasses, yes, go out. It's worth taking a look. Thank you so much for joining us. NBC News picking up coverage. Join us this evening beginning at 4 for continuous coverage of today's events. And don't forget to log on to LEX18.com for a full wrap-up. Now we'll send you over to NBC News with a special report. Glad to share this with you. We'll see you at 4.